Going over to the Culture Pride podcast, you have Delta allegedly removes a Marine for wearing a suicide awareness shirt, which, you had another reason to drive somewhere. Life's infinitely more fun when you're working with three pedals anyway and rolling the gears. But I partially digress. This comes to us thanks to Libs of TikTok, in which she says, quote, a Marine Corps veteran had allegedly been removed from the plane and forced to change clothing by Delta because she was wearing a shirt that brought awareness to veteran suicide. How is this? Is this how veterans are treated at Delta? Which, let's be honest, is the same airline company that beat the, well, rudimentary said, they beat the crap out of a doctor because he wouldn't give up his seat to one of the airline employees. And the doctor's actually flying to actually for humanitarian work. They've never had the best PR at Delta. But it's also kind of a little monopoly in terms of, how many companies can bid on these flight paths and how they're locked in. So there are some instances where you have no choice at all thanks to the ineptitudes or corruption of the US government. Or maybe little column A, little column B. Now, the actual t-shirt, when you pull it up here, and it says, in white font, it says, do not give into the, or into, then the red font is the war within, then back to white font, end veteran suicide. So again, the t-shirt says, do not give in to the war within, end veteran suicide. Which, of all the t-shirts I've heard of people being abrasive or bombastic, this certainly isn't the one. I mean, granted, maybe that's why this video will get demonetized, will get deranked on the YouTube. Again, watching Rumble, it's infinitely better experience, and they don't take down my videos left and right. But is it just because it says the word suicide? Which the rumor is, if you say that on the YouTube, your video's blacklisted or whatever. But maybe that's why Delta thought it was, offensive. But at the end of the day, again, it's also a t-shirt. Who cares? Granted, I would also say that people should suit up for flights like they used back in the day. But I'm an outlier. I know most people do not want to actually suit up for those types of experiences. Here you can see, unfortunately, I don't know her name, but here you can see a picture of the veteran. And Libs TikTok did tag Delta on the social media. We'll see if they actually respond or shoot. By the time the video is rendered and uploaded, maybe they did. I'll should follow Delta, see what they're up to. I'll give them a follow. Another friendly reminder to follow hashtag The Topping Show on the X. Let's see. Actually, going down there. Looks like it was actually an article linked to the New York Post. They say in the Marine Corps said, just shook my soul away when they were asked for comment. Looks like they say Catherine Banks is a 22-year-old veteran of the Marines, was on board a Delta flight at, of course, San Francisco International Airport to visit family October 16th, when she wore a dark gray outfit and sat in her extra legroom seat, in which she paid extra. Let's see here. They say a male flight attendant approached Banks and was confused when he tried to get her attention. Said, "Ma'am, I was looking around." And she asked, who's he talking to? He said, "You need to get off the plane." And she's like, "What did I do?" And he said, "The shirt you're wearing is threatening." And she said, "Are you kidding me?" Which, it's also San Francisco. They're not exactly known for their masculinity or intellect or emotional intelligence. So yeah, I'm not surprised some, let's be honest, probably a beta male was like, "Oh, it's a threatening T-shirt." What? Raising suicide awareness for veterans? Ridiculous. She said, quote, "I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I'm going to see Marine Fit Sister. I've been in the Marine Corps for 22 years, and I worked for the Air Force for 15 years, so I'm going to go visit her." And I say that Banks' military background did not phase the flight attendant who issued her the ultimatum to get off the plane. He said, "I don't care about your..." Well, of course, they would say this. "I don't care." He says, "I don't care about your service. I don't care about her service. The only way we're going to get back on the plane is if you take it off right now." Banks, who was braless underneath that shirt, told the flight attendant to turn around so she could remove the seemingly polarizing shirt and replace it with a sweatshirt. The t-shirt is sold by Til Vahayal Project, part of a 22-day collection, which brings awareness to the estimated 22 veterans who commit suicide each day. Add insult to injury, Delta, which they're known to do for. Not only do they take off the shirt, but it's actually a shirt that actually raises money awareness. It's actually part of, most likely, a nonprofit to raise awareness over that. Which, of course, Delta would do that. Jeez. Now let's go to the comments. Maybe I'm alone in this assessment, or maybe let's go down here. One of the first comments comes from Thick Eggshelled. Say, quote, "I'm sure if it was an LGBTQ suicide awareness shirt, they would have given her first class." Getting 170 likes, which, well, it is San Francisco, and I mean, most businesses do cater, but yeah, it's not out of their own possibility, especially these days. Paul Zupa says, quote, "Delta and most airlines have turned DEI woke monstrosities. The FAA is woke also. Why would anyone want to fly anywhere anymore?" Getting 220 likes. Good question. Why the hell would anyone want to fly in 2024? I mean, shoot, I would rather drive, and I actually do drive usually a couple times, depending on the calendar, customer meetings or family events. Shoot, I would much rather drive 13 hours in my little Honda Civic with a stick shift than go to an airport, 2 to 3 hours, 1 to 2 hours early, crammed into the airplane, fly, then land, deal with all that. And then, of course, you can't properly protect yourselves in those situations. And also, yeah, you may or may not have your stuff stolen by the TSA. Yeah, pretty much would like to drive in nearly every conceivable situation. I would rather drive somewhere than take an airplane. Even if I had to drive from New York to California, I think that'd be more fun. Well, especially if you have the right car. But I partially digress. Planet of Memes did not in fact respond to meme form, but nevertheless is alleged at Planet of Memes said, quote, "This is ridiculous. There's no need for this," getting 207 likes. Or perhaps the need is for Delta to send a message they don't want veterans flying on their planes. And again, depending on what flight path you want to go on, they might be the only choice. The Independent American says this is disgraceful. Delta, ever hear of Bud Light? Me neither. Getting 186 likes, which, now that being said, the hard thing about protesting these companies is sometimes you can't. I mean, people tried to protest Delta years ago, and they, again, basically beat a doctor for not giving up his seat from the Delta employees. The doctor was going for humanitarian work. People tried to protest it. Well, yeah, it turns out in some cases you really can't because it's the only flight route option, thanks to the FAA. You also have AceSpice64 saying, quote, "Delta, if you exclusively and frequently, I fly you exclusively and frequently, it is not addressable. If this is not addressed, that will end. I support veterans and the right to reduce veteran suicide." Getting 185 likes. However, I don't think Delta's going to care about any of the backlash because the aforementioned notes that, again, many of the routes are monopolistic. The FAA won't give new routes. That's why there's not a lot of startups in the aviation industry, especially when it comes to consumer travel. The FAA, are they going to give additional licenses to fly those specific routes? No, probably not. You also have Hondu Lane saying, "As a veteran, I will boycott Delta," getting 170 likes. You have Masculine Base says, "You might expect it from these kind of people. It's a Delta airplane, but it's filled up with rainbows, and a cat has been mutated or bred with a Pop-Tart." Not sure how that would function. But nevertheless, it is a cat with a Pop-Tart body, and it has the rainbow farting behind it, and standing next to a Delta employee, and the whole inside of the cabin of the plane is filled with the rainbow. Pop-Tart cat, how is that bred? Is this some abomination from Kellogg's we don't know about? All those artificial ingredients catching up with it, maybe? Mutation from a cat. It sounds like a movie, maybe? But that did get 99 likes. Let's see. I don't see any contrarian comments thus far. The Right Girl says, "These airplane companies clearly hate this country," getting 71 likes. PR Holman says, "We know what the airlines will hire mentally ill to be flight attendants," getting 37 likes. Bruce Blau simply says, "Delta, get the F out," getting 57 likes. So, again, mostly all very vehemently against Delta. Against just mentally, culturally, business-wise, just whole mentally vacuous, just immoral for Delta to do this. Again, I'm not surprised in terms of, times of thoughts and ideals that Delta has. I'm pretty sure, isn't that the airline has a CEO who's also a drag queen in his spare time? Which, again, that does increase your sales in places like San Francisco. Don't get me wrong. But overall, in the US market, most people are wondering, why are you doing this? And why are you doing this in public? I guess we should only be surprised that he wasn't wearing a Delta Airlines logo on his lapel. Well, actually, no, they don't wear a lot of clothes. Usually don't do that. But nevertheless, you get my point. So, a lot of backlash. But at the end of the day, I wonder how much, will their sales even drop 1%? I'm pretty skeptical. If we just pull up their stock, now I'm a little curious. Delta stock, which granted, there are so many variables that go into a stock price. It's hard to, attribute it to a single factor most of the time. Overall, their stock, it looks like it went down at the news of this 0.54%. It's still trading for $54.80 per share. And last week it went up by 3% overall. Past month is up 16.2%. So I'm pretty skeptical in terms of, I don't get me wrong, I think there should be more of a negative backlash from the public, but again, I'm not sure how many people could realistically boycott it, how many people are going to drive instead of taking a flight. But let me know in the comments, are you surprised with this action of Delta Airlines? Do you think they'll actually turn things around? And kind of cliche, but maybe Delta will do a copy paste of the old PR where after a couple of weeks of pressure, they'll do a donation. In this case, if I do a donation to the nonprofit that's, selling those t-shirts for the suicide awareness, I think that's most likely going to be the most likely result if there is enough social pressure, enough media backlash. But let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I really appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, and comment. It's a great way to give me some additional insight and feedback, letting me know how to make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.